Ave viewers! Lately we've seen a bunch of controversies implicating skins and other purchasable items within free-to-play games. The funny thing is that it is something that I very briefly talked about in the last Ave as something that would interest me to cover in this series. So now I feel absolutely obligated to empty my mind on it. Also, before I keep going, I'm definitely not going to make any friends in management positions in any gaming companies with this video. But first, a very brief course in economics. Almost everyone already heard about supply and demand. To determine the price of something, you need to first evaluate its cost and the price of labor to then have a base cost. From there, depending on how much supply you have, you'll set a price depending on how much people want said item. If your evaluation on demand was wrong, you'll adjust the price. More demand will imply a pricier item. Also, if you can't provide enough items for the demand, you'll end up increasing the cost, so you can then use that extra money to try and increase the output of your production line. Why did I do that little parenthesis? To highlight the fact that in a video game, those items being virtual, there is no supply, or rather an infinite supply of those objects. So the price you see are nothing more than a label stamped on the collectible item. This is important to remember because in the end, the money that you spend is nothing more than a thank you for making this note to the dev. Internally, they'll see the stats that certain items sells more and etc. But in this video, I want to highlight the this in the particular thank you for making this that you are showing the dev by purchasing skins and such. That thank you is very vague, especially for new free-to-play games that struggle to find an audience. Did you appreciate the skin itself? Did you appreciate the shop? Did you appreciate the ranking system? Did you appreciate the system that allowed you to make this purchase? Shouldn't this thank you note represent your sentiment about the game as a whole? I'll bring you all back to a time when free-to-play games weren't as popular, when League of Legends wasn't around, when free-to-play also meant pay to win. Back then, people buying stuff from free-to-play games were kind of put to shame. I remember Combat Arms back in the day. Some people were paying to have stronger weapons. I wasn't impressed by the guy at the top of the leaderboard. I was just, well, cool story, you paid the company to win. I, as a player, was never interpelled to spend any money in the game either. Paying to get an easy mode against other players, that feels exactly the same as cheating to me. Then League of Legends came around. After playing for literally hundreds of hours, I went, I guess I should spend a little money on the game. I'm having fun and I'm decidedly not gonna stop playing anytime soon. And I was happy spending that money. No regret whatsoever. Even now. Then time passed. There was more and more system that I disliked. Loot boxes, smurfing being left unaddressed, FOMO shops, skin bundles costing up to $130. And now, I'm back to the starting square. Why should you even, spend any money in the game that is predatory to my wallet? A game that is maintained poorly. A game in a state that feels like, it's working? Don't touch it. Make sure that the shops are perfect though. Your money moves mountains. That timeline, that is a reminder of how gamers changed the landscape of gaming in the past. But it's not by spending money because, ooh, shiny, I want to look good, that this stupid FOMO shop is gonna go away. If you bought a skin through said FOMO shop, then FOMO shop is working and FOMO shop won't go away. Same goes with everything within the game. Smurfing is bad. Are you still playing the game? And smurfing probably isn't that bad, right? Probably sounds a bit hypocritical to say after I made a 15 minutes video on the subject. But constructive criticism is always a good thing. But sometimes it makes things confusing, just like those recent controversies. As I said in the beginning of this video, there has been a lot around skins sold in game. I just have two questions for you. If you aren't happy with the skin, then why are you complaining about it? And more importantly, why are you still buying it? I know the vast majority will instantly reply, I never bought the skin and I never will. But then I'll ask again, Why are you complaining about it? Those items are just a thank you note, right? If the skin isn't worth it, then don't buy it. No harms, no foul. If someone finds it worth it, then they'll buy it. End of story, right? The best example of this is the League of Legends Jhin skin. To quickly recap this controversy, this is a skin locked behind a crate system with a 1% drop of getting this skin in each crate. After 30 crates, it will drop guaranteed, making it so a $200 or so skin. This skin is a recolor, changing slightly the tint of another already available skin. Same thing with the icon and the ward bundled into it. People are mad about this. I used to be struggling about why anyone would be mad at this. If you don't like it, don't buy it. But I heard the following sentence from someone I know, and it reshaped my mind a bit. They said, yeah, but I already have a good collection of this character's skin, and I really don't want to miss out on this one. And this is kind of when I realized we've reached a tipping point. We're no longer into supply versus demand. We're even past the thank you note territory. We're slowly entering the whale territory. Some people will object, saying it's not even starting to describe a whale, right? But that's where I kind of disagree. A whale is a player that is spending large amounts of money on a game. That might be for showing off, shortcutting grindy sections of the game, or in a case of pay-to-win games, for winning everything. Why would you buy all of those skins if it's not for showing off? You can only equip one in the game, right? Why are you buying all the others? So you can change that skin as you want. So you can be fitting all situations. So you can show off. It might not be in the same scale of a proper whale, but I'll still describe that behavior as being a soft whale. There's definitely an argument to be made about getting tricked into spending a lot of money and the psychology aspects of shops and spending in games. But once you feel like you are obligated to spend money in that game, you are no longer a regular free-to-play player to my eyes. I'm certain that not all players complaining about the price or availability of these skins are hardcore whales. But it definitely feels like more and more players are slowly inching their way there. By doing so, they are supporting those models. Because let's be real for a second. That $200 Jhin skin. As soon as a single player bought this skin, and I mean the full 30 crates, the production cost is covered, or almost covered, depending on how far you want to include labor cost in the hierarchy chain. The skin will just be there for them to gain money on it afterwards. There is nothing even close to supply and demand here. While making the video also, Riot came out and said people were, quote, satisfied with the skin. That is simple coded messaging for y'all bought it. So they are now making another. People will still be angry about it, but people are buying it. So in the end, they got what they wanted. Also seeing how much it sold, they can then up the ante by knowing how much effort they can put into that skin while still turning a large profit. So yeah, to close this video, I know a lot of examples were from League of Legends and Riot, but not because they are the only one doing it, but mostly because they are the most popular free-to-play game, which generates the most voices, so more controversies. And as a closing thought, be mindful of what you purchase. A purchase done really isn't just a digital good. For management, it's a seal of approval of all the systems you had to interact with. It's a seal of approval for the state of the game. It's a seal of approval of the shop. It's a seal of approval for the mechanics to unlock said skin. And, most importantly, it's a seal of approval of the whole monetization model.